Have you ever wondered which places on Earth are so dangerous that even scientists hesitate to explore them? Hidden deep beneath the surface, between violent oceans and volcanic craters, are enormous cave systems, boiling lakes, and extreme geological environments that continue to change over time. Some of these places are hot enough to destroy equipment, while others contain toxic gases, massive sinkholes, and pressure levels far beyond the limits of human safety. Each location stands as clear evidence of the powerful natural forces that are still actively shaping our planet today. And in this journey, we will explore some of the most extreme places on Earth, where nature continues to operate far beyond human control. Fagradalsfjall Volcano, Iceland. On a cold, grey plain near the Arctic, Fagradalsfjall opens like a giant crack of fire, staining the night with burning orange light. After sleeping for more than 800 years, this volcano woke up in 2021 and became a tourist volcano because it erupts through cracks, creating far less destructive ash than many other volcanoes. The lava here rises from about 9 miles deep, reaching about 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit, then pours out through a crack more than 1,640 feet long, instead of exploding from a tall summit. The greatest danger is not only fire, but also invisible sulfur dioxide gas that can settle in low areas and turn the air into a silent trap for people nearby. Fagradalsfjall Volcano makes people freeze before a chilling paradox, because Earth's rawest destruction can sometimes carry its most hypnotic beauty. Doong Cave, Vietnam. It is not like an ordinary cave, but more like a giant underground world hidden beneath the ground, where real clouds can drift slowly through the darkness. This space has a volume of about 1,360,000,000 cubic feet and a rock vault up to 492 feet wide, with its largest chamber big enough for a Boeing 747 to fly through without hitting the rock walls. Thanks to giant skylights bringing sunlight deep inside, a tropical forest has grown in the cave, with trees about 98 feet tall and stalagmites more than 230 feet high. Its huge size, isolation, and difficult access are why fewer people have reached the deepest core of this wonder than have climbed Mount Everest. To reach that surreal world, people must pass through a harsh journey, starting with a rope descent into an abyss about 262 feet deep before entering the cave. Darvaza Gas Crater, Turkmenistan. Burning in the middle of the silent desert, this giant crater is like a roaring mouth of fire, born from a drilling mistake in 1971 that turned into one of the most terrifying flames on Earth. With a width of 230 feet and a depth of 98 feet, it keeps releasing methane gas and reaches temperatures of about 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt pure aluminum. Beneath the shaking heat and the loud roar of the gas, tiny extremophile bacteria still survive on the blazing surface. For more than 50 years, the huge pressure below the ground has made human efforts to close or fill the crater completely useless. This burning landscape is both a warning and a wonder, showing how a dangerous environmental disaster can strangely become a surreal and haunting masterpiece. Dallol Hydrothermal Field, Ethiopia. Shining like a neon painting made from poison, the Dallol Hydrothermal Field is a forbidden landscape lying 427 feet below sea level, where normal limits of human survival are completely broken. Under heat rising above 122 degrees Fahrenheit, the bubbling pools here contain brutal acid with a negative pH and 43% salinity, strong enough to burn flesh and skin. The bright yellow and turquoise colors are not harmless beauty, but sulfur and iron deposits forming strange salt shapes across the dead ground. This young, hellish landscape has kept changing since the eruption in 1926, while magma as hot as 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit continues to burn beneath the thin crust. Between the hissing sounds of underground springs, this dazzling place stands as a fierce reminder that Earth still holds forbidden zones that seem made only for death. Waitomo Glowworm Caves, New Zealand. Deep in the thick darkness underground, thousands of blue lights appear like a false galaxy, so beautiful that they hide the hunting system behind them. This glow does not come from flying fireflies, but from fungus gnat larvae clinging to the cave ceiling, using cold light to lure prey into sticky threads. This glowing kingdom sits inside limestone, formed from shells, coral, and fossilized sea life over 30 million years. When artificial light shines upward, the romantic starry sky becomes a cold hanging web, while the cave chamber, about 59 feet high, magnifies every water drop like a sound from the earth below. Waitomo glowworm caves remind people that what humans call an underground starry sky is actually nature's silent hunting ground. Teahupo'o, French Polynesia. It is called Wall of Skulls because the waves here are not only tall, but also very thick, very heavy, and crash onto the sea like a giant block of concrete. This violence happens because the seafloor suddenly rises from about 300 feet deep to near the surface, squeezing the full power of the ocean into a very short distance. When that energy breaks free, the front part of the falling wave can be about 20 feet thick and move at around 30 miles per hour, creating an impact strong enough to break even professional surfboards. The most dangerous moment comes when the wave folds over the coral reef because the water can drop below 20 inches, leaving surfers only one handspan above sharp coral edges. That is why, in the wild scenery of Tahiti, rescue jet ski teams must always be ready, because they may be the only chance of survival for anyone caught in one of the most dangerous waves on Earth. Saltstraumen, Norway. Saltstraumen is not a calm blue sea, but a violent tidal channel where the ocean twists and crashes like a giant living monster. Every 6 hours, about 14 billion cubic feet of seawater are forced through a narrow gap at speeds up to 25 miles per hour, creating a water level difference of about 3 feet. The powerful currents tear the surface into huge whirlpools about 16 feet deep and 33 feet wide, strong enough to pull in very large objects. Beneath that wild surface, the rushing water supports a rich marine ecosystem, and this area once recorded a giant fish weighing about 50 pounds. Today, this fierce natural wonder attracts visitors who come close by boat to witness the thin line between beauty, danger, and raw power. Xiaozhai Tiankeng, China. It appears like a giant crack tearing open the ground, leading down into a sinkhole about 2,172 feet deep, where sunlight can hardly reach the very bottom. This overwhelming scale is enclosed by steep rock walls, forming a dangerous two-level double sinkhole with a volume equal to 48,000 Olympic swimming pools. This long isolation has nurtured a unique ancient forest ecosystem where more than 1,200 plant species quietly grow at the wet bottom of the abyss. Beneath the mist created by falling waterfalls is an underground river about 5 miles long, slowly wearing down the limestone and helping carve this giant wonder. Crossing 2,800 steep steps is the price of reaching this 128,000-year-old forgotten world, where humans become tiny before the greatness of the earth. Jacob's Well, USA. In crystal clear water, it opens like a bottomless black eye, both beautifully fascinating and deeply chilling. The opening is almost perfectly round, about 13 feet wide, creating a sudden change from emerald green to dark blue, as if the bottom has been carved open before your eyes. From that opening, the water leads down into an underground limestone cave system, where the vertical depth of about 33 feet is only the first part of cave levels more than 141 feet deep. The deeper you go, the more dangerous the clear beauty becomes, because narrow passages, mud traps, and loose sediment can make divers completely lose direction. Because of this, Jacob's Well is called one of the deadliest diving spots, where at least 8 to 9 divers have died while trying to explore the deepest cave levels. Molnar Janos Cave, Hungary. Beneath the beautiful capital of Hungary lies a magical underground world filled with warm water where total silence stands in sharp contrast to the busy life above. With a tunnel network about 5 miles long and more than 328 feet deep, Molnar Janos is now the largest thermal cave system in Europe, still being explored. This water maze keeps changing shape, from huge underground chambers as large as airplane hangars to narrow cracks barely wide enough for divers to squeeze through. This dangerous structure has turned the place into a risky, forbidden zone, where only the world's most skilled technical divers are allowed to enter. In this environment, with no direct escape route, the clear beauty of the water becomes a perfect trap, where the line between life and death may be only one small mistake away. Erta Ale, Ethiopia. In one of the harshest lowlands of Ethiopia, it rises like a gate leading straight into the heart of the earth, with a permanent lava lake that has kept boiling for more than a century. This shield volcano stands about 2,011 feet high and reaches a destructive heat of about 2,012 degrees Fahrenheit, where bright red magma keeps crashing and swallowing black rock plates before the eyes of explorers. Around the crater lies a jagged black basalt desert, creating a bare and threatening landscape that feels like the surface of another planet. When night falls, the red glow from below becomes so strong that the burning sky can be seen clearly from more than 19 miles away. Only after enduring the burning heat and the heavy smell of sulfur to stand near the rim can people truly feel how small they are before the raw and frightening power of nature. Dahab Blue Hole, Egypt. Do not let the clear blue water fool you, because this place is known as the Diver's Cemetery, with a vertical sinkhole dropping deep in the Red Sea. Formed by the collapse of ancient limestone caves, this natural trap falls straight down about 427 feet, where the water pressure is 13 times stronger than at the surface. The most dangerous point lies about 171 feet deep, where an 85-foot rock arch opens to the ocean and can make divers lose direction because of nitrogen narcosis. The contrast between the bright coral reefs above and the memorial plaques on the rocks has become a cold warning about more than 200 lives lost in the abyss. Exploring this wonder is not just a dive into the ocean, but also a mental battle on the thin line between hypnotic beauty and silent death. Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. Shaped like a gate opening from the human world into a glowing hell, Kawah Ijen is a volcano famous for its deadly acid lake, which stretches about 3,281 feet wide and is strong enough to burn flesh. When night comes, the crater turns into a science fiction scene as blue fire burns across the darkness, caused by sulfur gas igniting at about 1,112 degrees Fahrenheit. Under bright daylight, the clear turquoise water looks beautiful, but it hides a huge body of acid that can quietly destroy everything flowing downstream. This highly corrosive place is so extreme that even modern mining machines struggle to work here, showing that nature still has places humans cannot fully control. Yet because of poverty, many local workers still risk their lives in the toxic gas every day, carrying out a harsh survival job that has passed from one generation to the next. Sidoarjo mudflow, Indonesia. Instead of erupting like a normal volcano, it keeps releasing hot grey mud that slowly swallows the land around it. Since 2006, this mudflow has almost never stopped, and at its peak, it released enough mud each day to fill 50 Olympic swimming pools. That destructive force buried 12 villages, leaving homes, schools, and many buildings covered under mud up to 131 feet thick. Across more than 1,729 acres, steam and gas still rise from mud near 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and in the middle of that muddy sea, human statues covered in mud stand still like ghosts, reminding people of loss and pain. To stop the mud from spreading farther, people had to build embankments about 33 to 49 feet high, creating a strange border between normal life and a still boiling sea of mud, where humans seem very small before the anger rising from the earth. Boiling Lake, Dominica. Deep inside the tropical rainforest, it is not calm like a normal lake, but keeps boiling violently like a giant pressure cooker of the earth. This is the second largest hot lake in the world, about 200 feet wide, and it is actually a vent in the Earth's crust, heated non-stop by magma below. In the center, the hot water sits in a basin more than 195 feet deep, constantly creating thick white steam that blocks the view and carries a strong sulfur smell. Even the edge of the lake stays between 180 and 197 degrees Fahrenheit, while the surrounding rocks are stained by minerals into bright but threatening colors. After a difficult 8-hour hike, people do not just see a strange lake, but also feel the burning breath of geothermal heat boiling right beneath their feet. Mount Yasur, Vanuatu. It burns in the dark like the lighthouse of the Pacific, with magma fireworks that have continued almost non-stop for more than 800 years. Although this fierce volcano is only about 1,184 feet high, its crater is about 1,300 feet wide, where gas explosions keep throwing molten rocks hundreds of feet into the air. Standing near the rim, you can feel shock waves shaking your chest, while cannon-like blasts echo from deep inside the earth. Around the volcano lies a dark, gray ash desert, bare like the surface of the moon, creating a strong contrast with the green forest in the distance. This near-death experience becomes even stranger because visitors can send postcards from what is known as the world's most dangerous mailbox, placed right near the boiling crater. Mount Nyiragongo, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Welcome to the Kingdom of Demons, a place that holds the largest and most violent permanent boiling lava lake on Earth. At the center of a crater, about 2,000 feet deep, a red sea of magma stays above 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt and evaporate many materials in moments. Unlike normal lava, the fire here is as fluid as water and can race down the mountain at up to 60 miles per hour, leaving almost no living thing enough time to escape. In air thick with sulfur, the crater, about 1 mile wide, looks like a giant crack in the earth and throws a red glow into the dark night sky. Standing before this abyss with no clear escape, people feel unbelievably small before the raw, destructive power of the haunting magma streams below. Masaya Volcano, Nicaragua. Hold your breath before the mouth of hell, where the fiery heartbeat of the planet sits only a few dangerous steps from your feet. With a crater about 2,000 feet wide and more than 1,000 feet deep, this volcano keeps releasing huge columns of acid smoke with a strong and corrosive sulfur smell. Its fury was so terrifying that in 1529, people built a giant cross on the rim to hold back the evil spirits they believed lived in the red fire. When darkness falls, the red glow from the lava lake lights up the sky like fire, creating a harsh contrast with the bare black rocks around it. Inside this giant furnace, green parrots flying through toxic smoke become a rare miracle of survival in a place that seems unable to hold life. Bimmah Sinkhole, Oman. Breaking the dry and barren desert landscape, Bimmah Sinkhole appears like a bright turquoise eye, and ancient people once believed it was a giant scar made by a meteorite striking the ground. This sinkhole has a near-perfect oval shape, about 164 feet wide and 65 feet deep, with steep limestone walls surrounding a calm, mirror-like pool. Even though it lies about 1,968 feet from the sea, the water below is linked to the ocean through underground caves, mixing fresh water and salt water into a strange, brackish pool. Under the burning sun, the water shines like a giant sapphire, creating a strong contrast against the dry, yellow land around it. Standing between danger and life, this natural wonder becomes a powerful symbol of balance in the Arabian desert ecosystem. Channeled Scablands, United States. Looking like the scar left by a giant disaster, the channeled Scablands are a torn basalt landscape that reveals the path of the most terrifying megaflood in North America. That flood rushed through at speeds up to 80 miles per hour, ripping away 200 feet of fertile soil and exposing the hard rock below. Huge whirlpools filled with giant stones worked like natural drills, carving the ground into deep and strangely smooth potholes. One of the most haunting sights is a dry horseshoe-shaped cliff about 4 miles wide and 400 feet high, which was once a giant waterfall. Covered with gravel ripples as high as 30 feet, this harsh land still refuses to soften, preserving the wild and barren mark of that ancient flood. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Breaking every normal idea of a desert, Salar de Uyuni is a vast white, salt plain left behind by a giant lake that dried up about 40,000 years ago. Sitting about 12,000 feet above sea level, this place covers around 4,000 square miles and is so flat that NASA has used it to help calibrate satellites. Beneath the hard salt crust lies one of the world's greatest lithium treasures, holding about 70% of the planet's known reserves. In the rainy season, a thin layer of water turns the surface into a giant mirror, making the sky and the ground seem to become one. In the dry season, the salt crust breaks into endless, sharp polygons, creating a cold and powerful landscape that feels larger than human imagination. Naica Crystal Cave, Mexico. Buried 984 feet below the desert, this cave is a surreal, forbidden world that rejects life and hides the largest crystals on Earth. Formed over 500,000 years in mineral-rich water, these giant crystals grow in wild directions like a deadly glass web, reaching up to 39 feet long and weighing as much as 61 tons. Deep inside some crystals, scientists found ancient bacteria about 50,000 years old, carrying strange DNA never seen before. The magma below turns the cave into a brutal furnace, keeping the temperature near 136 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity at 99%. Great Blue Hole, Belize. From above, it appears like a perfect black opening in the pale blue sea, about 1,043 feet wide and 407 feet deep below the ocean's surface. Its size is large enough to swallow 2 Boeing 747 planes, but the more frightening truth lies in the almost lifeless darkness below. After about 295 feet deep, oxygen disappears completely, turning the deepest part into a dead water chamber for most sea creatures. At around 98 feet deep, stalactites up to 39 feet long hang silently underwater, proving this place was once a dry limestone cave before the sea swallowed it. The Great Blue Hole reminds us that beneath calm and clear blue water, the ocean can still hide a dark doorway leading straight into Earth's deep history. Fly Geyser, United States. Unlike wonders shaped over millions of years, Fly Geyser rose in the desert like a strange geothermal creature born from a human drilling mistake in 1964. From its permanently open core, water at 200 degrees Fahrenheit keeps shooting 5 feet into the air day and night, steady like the breathing of the earth below. Minerals in the water slowly build layer after layer, allowing the tower to grow a few inches every year, while forming around 40 colorful stepped pools around it. Red, green, and yellow colors spread across the twisted surface of the tower, making it stand out like a living stain in the flat and empty desert. Standing before this endless boiling water machine, people quickly feel that nature's beauty can also be something far beyond human control. Cave of Swallows, Mexico. Imagine standing before a giant black hole in the rainforest, where an entire skyscraper could be swallowed by the deep darkness of the cave. At midday, sunlight shines straight into the opening, cuts through thin mist, and creates glowing beams that blur the line between the ground above and the underground world below. Since the 1970s, this place has attracted thrill seekers because they get about 12 seconds of free fall inside the abyss before opening their parachutes. Strangely, the opening is only about 160 feet wide, but the cave expands to about 994 feet at the bottom, like a giant bottle buried under the earth. Although its name mentions swallows, its most famous residents are swifts, which spiral into the sky each morning and dive back into the deep pit like living arrows each evening. Melissani Cave, Greece. Light at Melissani does not simply fall onto the lake, but turns the whole cave into a blue illusion where boats seem to fly beneath the earth. The name comes from the nymph Melissani, who is said to have thrown herself into the lake because of her unreturned love for the god Pan, leaving this place with a beauty that feels both sad and pure. Because the cave roof collapsed after an ancient earthquake, the midday sun can shine straight into the lake, about 98 feet deep, creating the illusion that boats are floating in the air. That strange clarity comes from seawater traveling underground for 14 days before appearing inside a world of stone formations about 20,000 years old. Sitting on small wooden boats in this half-real, half-dreamlike space, people feel as if Greek mythology is melting into the bright blue water. Cima de las Cotorras, Mexico. In the green forest, a giant skylight opens deep into the ground, where thousands of parakeets circle up from the bottom of the sinkhole into the sky every morning. This giant cylindrical sinkhole is about 460 feet deep and 525 feet wide, hiding a tropical forest ecosystem with ancient trees about 65 feet tall, growing in isolation at the bottom. Beyond nature, the vertical rock walls also preserve more than 40 ancient paintings about 10,000 years old, with mysterious handprints from prehistoric tribes. Strangely, these artworks sit up to 70 feet high on smooth rock walls, challenging scientists to explain how ancient people could reach them. When sunset falls, a mysterious silence covers the space, turning this busy funnel into a quiet stop in the flow of time. Great Ocean Road, Australia. Forget the idea of a normal coastal road, because Australia's Great Ocean Road is like a giant geological scar showing how violently the continent was shaped tens of millions of years ago. This place creates a stunning visual shock, suddenly moving travelers from bright, salty cliffs into thick, dark, temperate rainforests that feel like the Jurassic Age. Visitors are amazed by the sharp contrast between white cliffs and the deep Black Sea, where strong western winds can blow up to 62 miles per hour. But the greatest meaning rises from that harshness, because war veterans use their hands, shovels, and endless effort to bend the wild landscape. Stretching exactly 151 miles, this road of sweat and memory became the world's largest war memorial, built to honor fallen soldiers forever. Levatnet, Norway. Like a splendid emerald jewel carrying the breath of death, this lake is where perfect beauty and the destructive power of nature meet in a haunting way. The lake has a glowing green color, like a computer-made image, but beneath its calm surface, at a depth of about 548 feet, the remains of a ghost town still lie forever underwater. In 1905 and 1936, giant rock masses from thousands of feet above crashed into the narrow lake, creating tsunami waves up to 230 feet high and sweeping away everything in their path. That disaster took the lives of more than 130 people, making this once peaceful valley forever tied to the sad memory of nature's destructive power. Standing before this magical scene, people can easily feel extremely small, as mountains and sky reflect on the frighteningly still lake and erase the line between reality and illusion. Lake Natron, Tanzania. Rejecting peaceful beauty, Lake Natron is like a giant chemical trap where many unlucky animals can die and become preserved in the harsh water. Its extreme alkaline water is so strong that it can quickly damage the skin and eyes of creatures that enter it. Because the lake is usually less than 10 feet deep, the minerals in natron become highly concentrated, making the water even more dangerous. From above, the blood-red surface looks beautiful, like an endless mirror, but that strange view can confuse birds and lead them into danger. Yet this same water, which can heat up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, also creates a natural defense that helps protect millions of flamingo nests from predators.